All right, we are back with another MLB Draft 2021 show. I'm your host, Joe Doyle, and I'm here with Diego Solares, Mr. Deegs Baseball. He is our resident Padres expert and also a native of, where are you, Chicago?
Yeah, grew up in Chicago. I'm in Milwaukee now, though, so just the Midwest, I guess
Okay.
you could call it that.
Yeah, so Deegs does a bit of scouting for Prep Baseball Report. He gets around to different events and gets his eyes on a lot of different preps. Figured we'd bring him in, talk to him a little bit about some of the talent that he has seen this summer, as well as his favorite Padres and some other things like that. So let's rewind it before we jump into 2021 and talk to you a little bit about the 2020 draft. It was a pretty fun one for your San Diego Padres, but. Padres aside, was there maybe a first round pick or even a later round pick that you thought was just a steal or the best pick of the draft?
Yeah, I'm just gonna throw Cole Wilcox out there, and I know you said Padres aside, but I gotta flex that a little bit. Great pick by my squad.
Oh yeah.
In terms of the first round, two guys I really liked. Cade Cavalli, coming out of Oklahoma, was a guy that I was pretty high on out of the draft. We saw reports from the Nationals alternate site that he was throwing some big-time gas. I like the breaking ball. So I really liked him. The one that I really, really liked, and it pained me because he went to the Dodgers, was Bobby Miller, kid I played against in high school that I just kind of knew that when he got to Louisville, he was going to figure it out, end up throwing really hard, big, physical, 6'5", like 220-pound kid. Consistently hits 100 miles an hour with his fastballs, got some blistering life in the zone. I know the Dodgers are going to turn this guy into an absolute stud. I don't know if he's going to throw enough strikes to stick as a starting pitcher, but if Bobby Miller's coming out of the big league pen for the Dodgers in 2022, I'm not going to be surprised, and I'm pretty confident he's going to be amazing. So offensively, I guess I'll just throw Pete Crow Armstrong out there to the Mets. Thought that was a pick that the Boston Red Sox probably should have made. Sorry, Ralph. But yeah, just a safe, as far as prep players go, just a safe guy, high hit to a floor, probably going to be a center fielder, solid athlete, a guy that honestly a lot of people had as the number one high school player going into the summer before he kind of struggled a little bit, but still a guy that I really liked. So it was a good first round, man. The 2020 draft was awesome. I don't know if this draft is going to, live up to that hype. Maybe it was just because it was like the only thing going on during quarantine other than the NFL draft that we were just all so hyped up and dug into. But it was an awesome time. So I hope that this draft is anywhere near that.
Yeah, whenever Baltimore goes off the rails at 2.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Throw everything out the window, man.
It was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, dude, that PCA pick, I loved that pick, man. I think Pete Crow Armstrong's going to be a stud. He's just got the fabric of being a truly special player. I had heard reports that Pittsburgh was even looking into him at number 7. Of course, if Nick Gonzalez falls into your lap, that's out the window too.
Yeah, it's an honor.
So 2020 was a lot of fun. Your Padres definitely cleaned up. Getting Cole Wilcox later. I mean, that's a true starter profile so long as he throws strikes. So, jump into 2021 a little bit. I think we can both agree that the talent in this year's draft is probably up to par with what 2020 was in a lot of ways. The prep infield class is way stronger than what it was last year. But kind of give me your surface level thoughts on this upcoming draft class. I know we've got 10 months until the draft, but who are some of your standouts and kind of what are you hoping to see from some different dudes this spring?
Yeah, so when you sent me this question last night, I kind of figured I'd answer it in like two different parts. Mm-hmm. So I'll start from the college side. Obviously, this 2021 class, we haven't got to see a lot of the juniors, right, because they're freshman year. A lot of them did play, small sample sizes, whatever. Some of them struggled, but we expect them to be better. I don't know. We just were expecting to see a full season of them last year as sophomores to make accurate, takes. So I just am excited to hopefully get college baseball and watch these guys. I think there's some dudes that could legitimately pop at the collegiate level. A guy that you and Ralph are pretty high on that I was excited to watch last year, Jayden Hill. I think he could have firmly put himself into the 1-1 conversation if we had a full season. And, maybe he comes out and balls out this year. He potentially rivals Kumar for that spot. I don't know. But it'll just be something cool to see like that. obviously standout wise, you have your Kumars, your Jack Lighters. I feel like the upper echelon part of this draft is comparable to last year. So collegiate sign men, honestly, I'll be honest, I'm not a guy that was super into college baseball up until like a year ago. And the 2020 season, I was locked in. I had spreadsheets and everything ready to go, fired up, going to go to games, and then it got canceled, and I was pretty sad about it. But I think I just want to see some guys. I want to see what some guys can do. I want to see maybe there's a guy maybe there's a guy right now that is a mid to late first rounder and he goes off, balls out, and puts himself into the top 10 conversation. Maybe a guy like Alex Pinellas that has been gaining some traction on Twitter lately is a guy that does that. I don't know. We'll see. But from the high school side, I want to see primarily from a pitching standpoint, because I don't think this prep pitching class is at the top close to last year, right? Last year you had your Mick Abel, who I wanted the Padres to take at 8 because I loved him. You had your Jared Kelly.
It seemed like everybody wanted their team to take Mick Abel. He somehow just
he's a beast. He's a beast.
Monster.
And I feel like he was a guy that some people at the end of the summer were like, well, Mick Abel sucks because he struggled and it was okay. He was a 6'5" kid who was just tired, and his first bullpen he comes out throwing 98 miles an hour. So he was awesome. Obviously, Bitsko joined in, Jared Kelly. There were some other guys, Jared Jones, sprinkled in there that were awesome. So I need to see a guy from this high school pitching class just in 6 months before their senior season take that leap and be that dude. Whether it's Andrew Painter, a lot of people have him at the top. Some people don't like him because he's 6'7". Either he just solidifies himself as the dude, or you have a guy like Chase Petty or Drew Gray or Jackson Jobe, one of the biggest winners of the summer, just comes out in the spring and he's just like, yeah, I'm the dude. Like I'm the number one prep pitcher in this class, because I feel like we don't have that guy right now, and I'm excited to see hopefully somebody take that step. Offensively, obviously, we have our Jordan Lawler and our Brady House as kind of the consensus top 2 guys, but I feel like from the 3 to 7 range, you have Marcelo Mayer, Ian Moeller, and Mahler for some people. Insert guy here, just a guy that will solidify themselves with the Jordan Lawler and with the Brady House, and
maybe a Josh Baez.
Tyree Reed, Josh Baez, some physical freak that figures it out. I don't know, but I feel like there's just some question marks with this prep class. It's deep, especially up the middle on the dirt, like you talked about earlier, right? We have some, later round guys that are probably going to end up being solid big league contributors one day. But there's some question marks that I want to see answered. And I think that hopefully we see that. I think that we are somewhat, some people are sleeping on some dudes that could just explode and end up like locked and loaded first round picks. But I don't know. I think there's a lot to see. It was a good summer. It was a good summer circuit, particularly in the Midwest. I think there's some guys that have some question marks that could potentially pop up and be that guy. But it's just I'm just excited. I'm excited to see how this plays out. I'm really digging into this draft class, and hopefully we have a high school and college season, man. That's the big thing. Yeah, we really do need it.
For sure. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, the high school class has some loud tools. There are some dudes that show out, but there's not a lot of polish. There's not a lot of guys that you just say, this guy's going to go out and he's going to be 4 for 11. He's going to be 5 for 11. He's going to get on base. Like the dudes that we're talking, like Braden Montgomery, I think is a good one. Like, yeah,
he's a mega guy. He's
polished stuff. Yeah. Like dude can hit with anybody in the class, but because some of the other tools maybe aren't as loud as Josh Baez or Benny Montgomery, he lags a little bit. So, that's the type of player where you say, okay, it's a pretty polished hit tool now, but let's say he shows up in the spring and he's either walking or he's, pummeling the ball into a gap. Maybe you see Braden Montgomery take that big step and get into that like top 20 range. So yeah, a lot of guys with a lot of tools, just looking for a little bit of polish, and that certainly applies to the pitching ranks as well. You had mentioned that there might be some guys in your area, in that Chicago Midwest area, that have the potential to pop this spring. Kind of hit on them a little bit. Who could you see from your region maybe getting into that first, second, third round range?
Yeah, so the big one's Noah Miller. Owen Miller's younger brother, former San Diego Padre prospect, now with the Cleveland Indians. Kind of a different mold, honestly, than his brother, right? Owen Miller's just a guy that hits. He played shortstop at Illinois State just because he could. He's not going to be a big league shortstop. He's probably a second baseman, maybe even a third baseman. I don't know.
Gritty, though.
But, yeah, just a gritty grinder, gamer, scrappy dude that is going to hit like either second or seventh and just be awesome. Noah is hands down the best defensive shortstop I've ever seen. And that is, he's better than Ed Howard, I think. The dude clean funnels, moves, nimble on his feet, covers a whole bunch of space. He's a big league shortstop, right? Like I think if he gets the opportunity and he hits enough, he's going to be a big league shortstop. Switch hitter. Honestly, I don't know what side is his natural side. He looks good from both sides, but the lefty swing is really good. It's twitchy. He stays inside. The hands work. The bat path he creates. It's short. It's level. Does get some elevation. More of a line drive guy right now. Just he just gets up there, competes, takes some really, really competitive takes. Like he goes up there. He knows what he's looking for. If there's a fastball 3 inches off the outside corner, he's going to spit. If it's 0-2, he picks up the spin quick. Doesn't offer at breaking balls down in the dirt. So it's a pretty polished profile, honestly. Kind of a thin guy. He's probably like 6'1", 175. Maybe, I don't know. I have to look it up. But there's definitely some room to add on some muscle. More line drive right now, just kind of a contact-oriented guy. Not much of a power threat. But obviously, as he continues to get older, he's 17 right now. As he continues to get older and tack on some muscle, maybe we see some power develop. I'm not really sure. Good runner, probably above average runner. But just a guy that I think some team is going to fall in love with as this gritty, grindy, top of the order profile, glove first shortstop that can pick the shit out of the ball and just be an up the middle machine. So love Noah Miller. He started to garner some, he's definitely had some draft attention. I think at PBR, he's like the 51st high school ranked player in the country.
Okay.
Balled out down at Georgia. At Lake Point this fall for some PBR tournament. He's played for the Chicago Scouts Association team that did well at WWBA, I think 2 weeks ago or whenever that was. So definitely a guy that is trending upward. Wisconsin kid committed to Alabama. Connor Prelip comes to mind as a guy that Alabama was able to lure down there. Same travel team, kind of similar location. So I don't know if he gets to campus. If he gets to campus, he's no doubt in my mind a first rounder in a couple of years. But a guy that maybe some team falls in love with and prices him out of his college commitment. Vince Trapani is another one.
Yeah.
Big 6'3", 6'4", tree trunks legs, righty. This funky, deceptive, high front side delivery. I'll be honest with you, the arm action's not great, but he gets into a decent position. He makes it work. It's got to be a super uncomfortable delivery for anybody that gets up in the box to face. He's been up to 96 this summer. I saw him up to 95 at the Rock Sports Complex, where we do a ton of our PBR tournaments over the summer for PBR Wisconsin. Plays for a good GRB team where Tyler Chadwick played for last year, Max Wagner, some guys that have some solid dudes that have come that way. But just this big dude committed to Arkansas, goes at guys, not afraid to throw strikes. That he's been throwing the curveball more as the summer goes on was a pitch that, honestly, when I saw him in a showcase setting at the PBR Midwest Pro Case in July, that was just okay. He was just blowing fastballs by dudes. But the curveballs look like it's gotten better. He throws kind of a splitter change-up-y type thing. I've heard that he's getting some draft interest. I don't know if that's what that looks like, but Wisconsin kid committed to Arkansas. Arkansas, obviously, very good developmental college program. Probably going to get the most out of him. And if he doesn't get drafted out of high school, which honestly I think it's a possibility he does, I think he goes to Arkansas and just tears it up for 3 years and is just a solid 3rd, 4th round pick as a junior. But just a really competitive bulldog-esque arm, goes at dudes. A guy that popped up, I'd never heard of him. He popped up at Grant Park at the PBR Midwest Fall Championships, or I'm not sure what the tournament's called, but Caleb Appleby out of
Hmm.
Mount Carmel, same high school that Ed Howard went to. Just this 6'7", 225-pound gangly right-hander, just
Jeez.
attacks dudes. The delivery is not good. He doesn't use his lower half that well, but he's up to 94 at WWBA last week or whenever that was sitting 89, 92 in like 45-degree weather at Grant Park, flashing a solid slider. It's still raw. He's a developmental product committed to Wabash Valley. So, I mean, solid JUCO program there, but just a guy that I could totally see in, I think he plays for Cangelosi Sparks, which is a really good travel program in Illinois. I honestly could be wrong. I'm not sure, but just a guy that in 6 months could figure it out and come out the gates in April or whenever the high school season starts, just pumping consistent 94, 95 mile per hour gas into the zone with a refined slider, and all of a sudden he shoots up draft boards. And then the last guy, another Illinois kid. I know this kid plays for Cangelosi. He's a Western Kentucky commit, Joe Batasic, or I'm sorry, Tyler Batasic. Joe Batasic is his cousin. Tyler Batasic, left-handed hitting catcher. Every time, I'm not even exaggerating. I've probably seen this kid play 5 or 6 times. He was a PBR future gamer my first year with PBR. Every time I've seen this kid hit or play, he hits a home run. I mean, it's at 5'11", maybe 6 foot, 195, strong build, compact strength, ridiculous blast motion numbers, like his rotational acceleration, his hand speed, everything on from a blast side checks out, looks really good, consistently finds the barrel, can really hit. I just don't know if he can stick behind the plate long term. And obviously, prep catchers are volatile to begin with. So maybe not a guy that gets drafted now. Maybe he ends up moving to second base or something after college and just is awesome for Western Kentucky for 3 years and is like a 6th-round pick as a junior, but can really hit. And yeah, I mean that's it. The PBR, not PBR, the prep class in Wisconsin and Illinois for 2021 is just okay. The 2022 class for both states is unbelievable. So when we have this conversation in a year from now, there will be at least like 15 guys that we talk about because it is loaded. But yeah, those are just some names to keep in mind on. Noah Miller is definitely the guy to know for sure.
Keep our eyes out. All right, so a couple more questions here, and then we'll let you go. On the college side, do you have 2 or 3 under the radar type guys that maybe aren't getting first round attention right now? Do you think same type of thing could elevate themselves into that top 20, top 30 conversation?
Yeah, the first one that we talked about last night, or I think it was last night, was John Rhodes from Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Saw him in the Northwoods this past summer. He's 5'11", strong built dude. Saw him hit like a 440-foot home run off Carson Seymour at the Rockford Ribbit Stadium. Then I went again to go see him play in his home park in Fond du Lac, and it was like 35 degrees, and he made 4 loud outs, all of them barrels. I mean, at least 2 of them were like 108 miles an hour off his bat or something. So big time bat. We were talking about last night how we're not sure about the defense, how he sticks in the outfield, but I really think he can hit, man. And I think that in the SEC, he's going to get draft looks. He's a draft-eligible sophomore, so he's got that going for him.
Yes, sir.
Probably going to bat towards the top of Kentucky's lineup. Kind of tore it up in a small sample size last year before the season went down. So John Rhodes, definitely a guy to know about. A guy that I played with in high school, kind of close to my heart, Jeff Heinrich. He goes to South Carolina right now. Went to Huntley High School. Shout out Red Raiders. Was a JUCO guy. Got drafted out of high school. Went to JUCO, McHenry County College, which is just like a solid D2 JUCO. Balls out there. Goes to South Carolina. Was going to play a solid role for them last year, probably before the season went down. But again, saw him in the Northwoods. Was one of the more productive bats before Rockford's season got shut down with COVID. Dude just hits, man. He consistently finds the barrel. He's scrappy. He played second base. He played third base. He played left field for this Rockford team. Really good athlete plus runner. I mean, ridiculous speed. Again, 5'11", maybe 190, strong wrists, strong hands, big, muscular dude that just goes out there. He is a competitive at bat. He can really hit the ball. Every time he hits the ball, he hits it hard. So definitely a guy to look forward there at South Carolina. Another guy I saw in the Northwoods, here's a trend here, was Matt Higgins of Bellarmine, which is a school that I honestly had no idea existed. It is a Division I school, if you're wondering. But 6'4", like a 205-pound, looks like a linebacker. Like if you've ever seen Leighton Vander Esch play for the Dallas Cowboys, this is what this kid looks like. He's huge, left-handed hitting, left fielder, strong arm, is just a corner outfielder. But, I mean, big time pull side power. Saw him go yak off of Jaden Carr, I think, short little lefty for West Virginia. Just a moonshot. It pimped it. It was like 440 feet, absolute laser. It has some swing and miss. There is some swing and miss to his game, but again, kind of like Heinrich and Rhodes, every time he made contact, it was hard. And I saw him play 3 different times. I think the most impressive thing was he was a guy that, even though he knows he has big-time pull-side juice, was going the other way. Like if there was a fastball on the outer half, he would just punish it to left field for a base hit. It's an uncomfortable swing. I don't think it's like really good. He's definitely raw, and he's not going to get much draft hype playing at Bellarmine. But this is, he's a senior, I think. Maybe a guy that just balls out and explodes, and some team takes a chance on him late, signs for like $1,000, and he's just a solid. Yeah, I don't even know. Just a cool guy to root for. Obviously, smaller school. The last guy I want to bring up here is Jonathan Cannon of Georgia. I don't know if he passes under the radar, but the only guy that I've ever seen rank him very high outside of my guy Andy Soroka with me is you. And 6'7", just big dude for Georgia. You had a report that he was like 94, 97 in a scrimmage. I heard the same thing. The slider's good, flashes swing and miss action. He can kind of wrinkle a changeup in there too. It's just, can he throw enough strikes? Can he repeat? We haven't seen him hold up as a starter yet, obviously, because we were probably going to see that last year and we didn't get the chance to. But can he repeat? Can he keep those mechanics, those long levers in line, in sync throughout an entire outing? And if he does, man, if he comes out and balls out for Georgia in the SEC, he's going to be like a top 2 round pick no matter what happens, because he's huge and he throws gas. So, those are just some names. Obviously, Rhodes and Cannon for me are the guys that have the most draft hype around them, because I think they could both like potentially sneak into the first round if they had good years.
Yeah, I think the thing with Cannon is nobody really knows what he is. I mean,
exactly.
He's like Jayden Hill. He's like Jack Leiter. He's like Steve Hadger. He's got 12 innings. Didn't give up a run. Struck out a ton of batters. Had some walks, but not an alarming amount of walks. Just had some walks. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Jonathan Cannon's going to be 20 for the draft. He's going to be a young draftee. I could be wrong on that, but I mean, the old school conventional teams that see 6'6", 215, and 97, come on. Look at Bobby Miller. Type of deal, man.
Bobby Miller, there's obviously some different parallels there. Bobby Miller looks like he's throwing 104 miles an hour, but Jonathan Cannon is a guy that could definitely anchor that Georgia staff this year. And again, SEC, he's going to be going up. All the eyes are always going to be on him. There's always going to be scouts, if they're allowed to be, at those games. So definitely a guy whose profile is going to entice somebody, especially if he performs.
I don't know if it's worth anything, but, playing behind Emerson Hancock and Cole Wilcox for a year, it's not worth nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, one last question for you. Give me one big, bold prediction for the 2021 MLB Draft.
I've been looking forward to this. I've been looking forward to this all day. Okay. I'm going to be honest. I don't know how bold this is because of reports that he's up to like 96 miles an hour now. But the most impressive college prospect I saw at a handful of Northwoods games this whole summer was Jordan Wicks of Kansas State. I mean, this dude went up against a talented Fond du Lac Doc Spiders lineup. Hell yeah. A talented Doc Spiders lineup that had like 7 Power 5 guys and 2 Vanderbilt dudes and undressed all of them. The changeup is plus, maybe more.
I think it's the best changeup in the class, personally.
Yeah, it's really good. It's a really, really good changeup. He's left-handed too, so I love lefties that can throw changeups for strikes. The curveball, it looked average. Maybe, I mean, it was okay. He didn't need to use it. Obviously, he just would flip it in there for strikes, and they would be like, oh, well, here's this curveball, so now we have to worry about this. Everything fastball, everything down, dude. I know we love our guys that throw up in the zone, but this dude was painting at the knees, out, in. Just not a ton of hard contact. He struck out like 14 dudes in 7 innings. Like, I mean, Bulldog, it was fired up coming off the mound, like screaming into his glove. It was all like I saw, yeah, goggles too. I saw him and Carson Seymour, right? 2 Kansas State teammates on the same day, and he was way better than Carson Seymour. Like, it wasn't close. So I think if the velocity is up, this guy, Kansas State, solid program, right? I think he's going to get some serious draft hype and potentially sneaks his way into the first round. I'll even go as far as to say that I would not be surprised if my San Diego Padres scooped him up there with the 27th pick or whatever pick they have. So love Jordan Wicks. Love him.
Good. That's about right. 27. Yeah. I mean, I think he could even sneak above that. Yeah. Sinker, changeup, curveball. He's a good one, man. I'm a sucker for lefties with goggles. That's fun.
Dude, it was awesome. It was the coolest thing ever.
Hell yeah. Well, hey, man, that's all we've got. I really appreciate your time. You've always had the best commentary as it pertains to the Midwest and the San Diego Padres. We're sorry the Padres didn't quite get there this year, but I think most people would agree they might have a decade of fun in front of them. So, hey, man, if you don't have anything else.
No, dude, I appreciate you having me on. I just want to say to all the Dodgers fans out there, if Nelson Lamet and Mike Clevenger were healthy, we take that serious. All right, cool. See you, man. Have a good one.
All right, Deegs. All right, take it easy, man.